Learning styles are widely accepted in education as a way to promote the idea that every child learns differently. Learning styles are not a prescription for teaching children, but they help a parent and the teacher to recognize the preferential way in which a child possesses and retains information. Welcome back, beautiful people. Thank you all for subscribing to this channel. If you have not yet subscribed, you'll see the subscribe button down. Click on the notification bell as well so you will know when next I will be posting my new video, because I will be sharing with you the tools and the tips to help your child to fulfill their incredible potential. My name is Chika, the Blossom Case Build. I'm a teacher, I'm a blogger, I'm a prolific author and a trainer. And also an entrepreneur. I'm here to bring you insights and issues in creative education and also parenting. I'm extremely passionate about children, about parenting, about the school system, training institute, and educational threats. I aspire to make education better and more enjoyable for all children, for ages, regardless their background and also their circumstances, by supporting the parents and also the educators that are engaged with their learning and development. And also I enable hundreds of educators and parents to embed a creative approach to teaching and learning that helps young children achieve their outstanding results across the whole curriculum and also to fulfill their potential. In today's video, I will be sharing with you how to recognize and support learning styles. You are probably going to learn about the different ways your children interact with new information. An important idea in education is that individual students have different learning styles that are associated with the way that a child prefers to learn. Education continues also to promote learning styles in a way for teachers to support students and different lessons as well. While there are multiple models related to learning styles, the VAC module that I mentioned in my last video is among the most widely used since it sufficiently addresses learners' diversity and also their needs. So if you have not yet watched my previous video, I will drop the link in the comment box. Go ahead and watch that. It is good to remember that not all learners fit exactly into one category. There are often overlap in learning preference when it comes to styles, especially across the matter and the activity. So we are going to take them one after the other. The first we are going to take now is the visual learning. The visual learning. How can you recognize visual learners? The visual learners, they like to see and also they like to observe the things that they are learning about. So visual learners, they like to use pictures, they like to use diagrams and also written directions to access the information. So the students who are visual learners, they might draw, or also maybe they might make a list or take notes in order to interact with the learning process and also to process the information. Now, how can you support the visual learners? Most of the traditional styles of teaching support visual learners, such as whiteboards and also projecting information onto a screen. So when giving assignments, you could ask the learner to make a picture or a diagram. In addition to that, providing class notes or handouts that students can follow along with are also a great way to integrate visual learning into your curriculum. So visual learners, they might have a tough time with lecture and could need more time to process the information they are hearing auditory. The second learning style is the auditory learning. The auditory learning. How can you recognize auditory learners? The auditory learners, they learn best by listening and also relating information to sound. So these are the students who prefer listening to a lecture or a recording rather than taking written notes. So they might also be students who think out loud. They think out loud, they speak out through a concept in order to dive into it. So the auditory learners are the ones that mostly use vocal when they read, and they're mostly the vocal ones in the class. They read out loud, and also they often repeat what a teacher has said in order for them to process what the directions the teacher is going to. Supporting the auditory learners. How can you support the auditory learners? Including a lot of time for discussion can support the auditory learners in your classroom. So they want to hear what others have to say, or share their own ideas in order for them to learn and also to process the information. When you are giving a lecture, ask the auditory learners to repeat what they have learned back to you. Ask them to repeat that. And also you have to do call and response, or question and answer. This process can also benefit an auditory learner. In addition to that, auditory learners, they appreciate watching videos about a topic and also listening to audiobooks or recordings. Third one is the reading and writing learning. How can you recognize the reading and writing learners? Actually, this is my own learning style. The learning style is often confused with visual learning, because reading and writing learners, they like to learn using written words. This may seem like visual actually, but reading and writing preference learners can be discerned as those who express themselves through writing. They love writing, and actually they enjoy reading articles. Also they like writing in diaries or journals. Your reading and writing learners, they might be an expert with search engine and all these old school encyclopedias. So they hunger for knowledge all the time, and they gather information through reading. So how can you support them? How can you support the reading and writing learners? Most of the traditional educational system cater towards this type of learner. The reading and writing learners, they learn by researching, they learn by reading books and writing. So there will usually be content to write an essay or to create a written project. So while these learners may not be as vocal or as auditory as auditory learners, they can express themselves well with written words. Try to give the reading and writing learners time to write their answers and also to walk through their thoughts on papers. All right, the last one, the fourth learning style, is the kinesthetic learning. How can you recognize kinesthetic learners? Kinesthetic learners, they learn by expressing and doing. They like to use their hands and their bodies as their learning instrument. Often, they always like acting events and also using their hands when they talk. They may seem wiggly in the classroom. Students who are particularly good in athletic or dance, all of them are kinetic learners, because they adapt at following the directions of a game or a dance using their body. How can you support kinetic learners? Since kinetic learners, they learn through movement, teachers may ask them to act out a scene or to act a play or to use movement in order to during the lesson. Also, for example, a kinesthetic learners can benefit by walking in a place or pacing in a small area while they are trying to memorize facts. So additionally, when learning can be associated with movement of some kind, such as teaching vocabulary using a total physical response method, kinesthetic learners, they retain that information more rapidly. So kinesthetic learners who connect with something physically can use that information to understand the abstract and also the theoretical concepts of the lesson. You probably might recognize yourself in one of these descriptions of the learning styles I explained. In your own education degree or coursework, you might find it easier to read diagrams or charts rather than listening to a lecture, or you might find out that acting out a scene in the classroom makes more sense to you than researching what to do about a particular classroom management problem. So as an educator and also a parent, you should recognize your own learning preferences and also be mindful to incorporate activities and opportunities for all types of learners you have to feel comfortable and engaged. Are you interested in learning more about how to differentiate learning assignments? Does your child's learning style really matter to you? Subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up for more tips, and also please drop your questions in the comment section. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.